Okay, my name's Cole Johnson. I'm with AutoNation Canada. I wanted to do a little video for today for you guys, just explaining a little bit more information about buying a vehicle, kind of where people typically fall, why they typically fall there, and then we're gonna do a couple myths that I run into all the time, just because I see this stuff over and over and want to provide some value. So I'm a visual learner, so that's why we've got this chart. I don't mind the handwriting, but it's the information that is what's important. So this is a price versus value. When we're looking at the chart, we're going to go value, price. So price, value. So typically where we used to see things fall, we don't see it as much anymore, but we usually see people falling here. So high price, low value. Now, with the way the markets have adapted and all the data that's out there now, even somebody that's not experienced with buying a vehicle, they're not typically going to fall in this area anymore. There's the outliers or situation oriented, but it's not as common. So we don't really see it as much, but we still see some people that were trying to trade out or hear experiences where people have high price, low value. Where we typically find people when they're shopping, they're more price conscious than value conscious. So a lot of the time, and I hear horror stories all the time, when people buy privately, they're falling in the low price, low value. So a lot of times when people are shopping, they're just price conscious, and that's the only thing that matters to them. And that's kind of why we're falling in this area. The other area that I do that everybody wants to land, and we rarely see this, if ever, like this is the unicorn hunting, we see low price, high value. So I mean, now the markets are regulated. The data is out there. Dealers try to adapt to have some stuff where they won't repair recondition cars, and they'll list them at a lower rate so that people think they're getting a good deal, but you're falling in this low price, low value, or you get stuck with a bill when you're with your salesman. Hey, yeah, we have this car and it's an excellent price, but hey, guess what? You have to pay X amount of reconditioning to get the car up to par. Um, Now, if people that can afford and people that buy luxury items go high price, high value. Obviously, if you're paying a high price and you're getting high value, you're going to have the expertise, service, and everything to go along. Problem is, lots of people can't afford to fit into that area, right? And some people just don't want to. They want to be able to invest for their future and spend money elsewhere, which we think is an intelligent decision as well. Our goal with AutoNation and like kind of where we try to fit things in, we want to be somewhere around here. So this is where we try to fit. We try to be competitive pricing, but we want to keep the value high. And we do that a few different ways. So if you go to our website, you're going to see that we have CarFaxes on all our units. If you price point us, we're going to be, if not top, we're going to be top tier. So top 5 units in pricing. It does nobody any good for us to buy a car and for it to sit around. So we are price conscious. We're also price forward. So we typically don't move on price because we do just price them to sell. It saves on advertising. It makes for a clean deal for consumers. And our reconditioning is done. Sometimes there will be stuff that's left out, but it's typically cosmetic, and we just disclose it. So this is something that I feel like a lot of people are hitting this low price, low value, and they're just missing a lot of understanding when they're buying a car. They're not thinking of everything long term. They're just thinking about the here and now, and I just want to get the best price on this vehicle. And it can almost be an addiction, cycling for cars to find that car that you want at the right price. But there's always going to be some kind of a catch, and anybody that tells you there isn't, there is. There's always a catch with it. There's the unicorn hunting, and sometimes if you are competent and you know exactly what you're looking for, and a lot of what you should be looking for, we're going to tell you in this video so that you don't end up here, or well, try to avoid you from being in here. This is the worst that we see the most commonly now. So as far as myths go, when we're looking at it. So vehicle cost, which we were talking about price here, vehicle cost doesn't incorporate value. So I like to take this word out, and then I like to look at it as cost of ownership. So cost of ownership is different than vehicle price. Cost of ownership is, hey, I'm going to buy this car. I know that we're going to have it for 2 years until our family gets a little bit bigger and we're going to need a 7 ride, or, I just want something to commute to college back and forth that's going to be cheap on fuel. So they have the short-term thought process, but they don't incorporate cost of ownership. So a lot of the ways that you can look at cost of ownership and you can prevent yourself brain damage and tons of expenses are things like your CarFax. So every vehicle has a CarFax. It tells the history of a vehicle, everything from the service records of it to who's owned it, how long they've owned it. Sometimes you'll notice, like in the beginning of a CarFax, the original owner is really diligent about getting their maintenance done. Secondary owner isn't, and then you run into issues. So CarFax is a huge one. Secondly, I would definitely say that any vehicle that you're looking at getting is get inspected. But the best way that you're going to be able to incorporate cost of ownership into vehicle price is by having extended warranty. It's the only way to truly give yourself peace of mind. So now that we got that one out of the way, a lot of the reasons why people don't get extended warranty, they have the ideology, I'm handy, I have a guy, I have somebody that can do all the repairs for cheap. Awesome, that's great. Labor is definitely an important consideration, but I mean, everybody's heard of the tariffs right now, but even before the tariffs, parts have gone through the roof, especially for vehicles. And I am going to make another video on vehicles that have known issues, ongoing issues, and just common issues. Unfortunately, manufacturers have built these things to break eventually. So the only way that you're going to be able to avoid that is by having extended coverage. That's the only way to truly have peace of mind. But you can do some other things, like if you're going through the CarFax, you're going through the maintenance records, and you can definitely do some stuff to prevent yourself from being in a bad situation. So when we're talking about I'm handy or I've got a guy, yes, labor is an important consideration, but the parts are what the biggest costs that you're going to incur, and especially when we're talking about major powertrain. Engine, transmission, differential, four-wheel drive, turbo, supercharger, all these things. If you can source them used, excellent. Probably won't be perfect. If you don't have some kind of coverage, then most of the records give you like a 90-day warranty. I mean, most things are going to work for 90 days. They might have issues, but they'll hold out for 90 days. It's after that time horizon that you're going to have an issue. So when you say I'm handy, I've got a guy, and your guy puts in a used part, he doesn't know exactly what he's looking for, and doing his due diligence on these used parts that you put in, you're going to end up A, paying a high premium for the used part, B, saving money on installing this used part, and C, having to replace that used part within 12 to 24 months. So this is a dangerous consideration, and for us, the biggest customer satisfaction we have is when people have extended warranty. We can guarantee at point of delivery the quality of the vehicle, but we can't guarantee that 60, 90, 120, 180, 1 year out. We're at the mercy of the manufacturers just like anybody else. We're just trying to incorporate value and price and get you guys somewhere in here, and then bundle you with cost of ownership. So that's the second one that I see all the time. The third one, vehicle looks clean, it must be good. So yeah, a vehicle can look clean, and it probably looks good, but without looking at a CarFax, you don't know if this thing's been in an accident. Without a CarFax, you don't know if it's been maintained properly. Without service records, you also aren't going to know if it's maintained properly. And if you don't get it inspected, even if you do the other due diligence on the other two, you're still not going to have a full outlook of what that vehicle is at point of ownership. So what we do at AutoNation, every vehicle comes with a mechanical fitness assessment. If it's coming from out of province, it gets an out of province inspection. Usually the first thing we do is get brand new shield. If tires are even relatively close to needing new tires, if they're 4/32 on a traditional tire, or under 50%, most of the time we're just changing out tires. Tires are an important one. And then as far as reconditioning goes, suspension and all that stuff is definitely addressed. So when a vehicle lands, we get the shield done. It goes for a mechanical fitness assessment. We do repairs, then we merchandise, then we sell, and that's what qualifies you to have extended coverage and prevented brain damage and the high cost of ownership. So thanks for tuning in.